Hi, I'm Jon Peterson, Executive Artistic Director of P3 Theater Company and co-founder of Funny Bōnz. If you want to learn more about what Funny Bōnz, the Humerus Solution, is all about, watch this video. When did I first fall in love with sketch comedy? I guess you could say that it was when I auditioned for Laffing Matterz in Fort Lauderdale back in 2005. And I didn't really even know what sketch comedy truly was at that time. But being part of the inaugural cast, we got to go through a pretty intensive rehearsal process. And that's when I learned that it was just one of those things where anything kind of goes. You put everything you have out there, and there's so much that's funny and there's so much that's not. So the exploring of all of that and really finding the funny in things, but playing the funny as a real thing. You can't play the funny as something that's funny. You have to play it as if it's real and serious, and that's the humor in it. So I guess that's really when I got to dig into my corny slash sarcastic slash jokester side and just explore all these different avenues for things. That was just it was just so much fun going through that process, and hook, line, and sinker. Once I found that niche and really started to explore that style of comedy, and there was a good directing team behind it, so they were able to help me fine tune my instincts, and it created a monster. And since then, and being with Laffing Matterz for, I guess it was about a year and a half or so I was with that company. I've been in love with that style of comedy since then. Sketch comedy is such a unique format in that you can take real life situations and you find the funny in that. Ellen DeGeneres is a master. I don't know if you'd really call her a sketch comedy person, but she's a comedian. And that's kind of where I get my ideas from, and in trying to find the funny is just in real things. And it's so unique that you can take these real life experiences, like, when you try to reach up into you're in a public restroom stall and you try to reach up into the toilet paper thing and pull the toilet paper, and one square at a time comes out. Finding the funny in that and bringing that humor to the public. Now, not to be confused with improv, sketch comedy is typically scripted, as is our production. So there's not really room for improv in it. That's a whole different type of comedy. And especially since we're going to be streaming, if there is any improv that's thrown into sketch comedy, it's because typically you're on a live stage and anything can happen on a live stage. Now you're on a live screen, but it's just there's not quite that 100% interaction there. So ever since I started at Laffing Matterz, it was one of those artistic experiences where a family was instantly grown. It was instantly put together. The cast was comprised of we had all worked together. We all knew each other in one way, shape, or form, or had seen each other on stage. And we bonded so closely and had so much fun with that style of comedy that it was 16 years ago almost that I was first cast in the show. And I don't think in the 16 years that a day or two has gone by where I haven't thought about it, talked about it, or talked with people that I experienced it with. And because it just really sunk into my gut as far as being able to just have fun with that style of theater and that style of comedy, I knew that someday I would find a way to make it happen again. And over the years, I've thought about trying to get a group of us together and putting a Laffing Matterz style show out onto cruise ships. When we were at a theater in Long Beach, there was a perfect setup for a dinner theater where we could do a Laffing Matterz type production, but then COVID hit. So I just was trying to find something to do with P3 during this quarantine where we can't do live in-person theater. So I contacted Rita Wells, who was my boss, and she was the producer and founder of Laffing Matterz. I said, what do you think about taking that style show and making it virtual? And it opened up this huge can of worms that I'm just so excited about. And so excited that finally, 15, 16 years later, we get to take that show and put it into its new carnation of Funny Bōnz. So Funny Bōnz is an extension of this sketch musical comedy that was Laffing Matterz. It's a very similar style show. However, we are all in our own homes and we're not on a stage with a brick wall behind me or brick wall behind us as we were on the Laffing Matterz stage, or as you would expect on like a stand-up comedy stage in New York, that type of thing. We are 8 different actors in our own homes spread across the country, and we are taking this comedy and bringing it to you through your screens. Now, one of the coolest things about how this production is going to happen is a lot of the Zoom productions and streaming productions you've been seeing since COVID has hit has really just been that kind of like a bunch of boxes on a screen with some type of green screen background and actors talking back and forth, doing scenes and not being in the same location. With the technology, and I'm not even going to begin to try to explain or to try to make it sound like I actually understand the technology behind it, but Brian Russell, our streaming technician and video engineer and the mastermind behind the whole technical side of this, is able to create a 3D virtual set where it will appear as if all of us actors that are in Houston, outside Chicago, in Fort Lauderdale, in Los Angeles, in Orange County, it's going to make us all look like we are together on that virtual comedy club stage. So you'll be looking at your screen and you'll think and feel like you're in this comedy club with us. So when I sat down with Rita Wells and we started to talk about who were we going to cast in this show, we figured one of the best things to do would be to reach out to certain people who had worked with this style of comedy previously and were very successful at it. And we reached out to them to ask them to be a part of this show. It's a difficult enough style of comedy to master when you're in a room with your colleagues. But now we're stuck and confined in our homes. So it's even harder to teach somebody who doesn't have experience in that style through a TV screen, if you will. So we selected 5 cast members from previous Laffing Matterz incarnations, if you will. It ran for 9 years, so there were so many cast members. And then from there, we saw what we had left, and we filled those spots with people that we knew. So the people we did cast, Rita and I have either worked with together or separately, but we assembled a cast of amazingly talented performers, and they will not disappoint you. I can guarantee you that. So the way I like to see it is that, you know, if you laugh at everything, then nobody can be offended. If you make fun of everything, nobody can be offended. So the material you'll see in the upcoming performance, we touch on politics, social mishaps, celebrity mishaps, current events. Basically, if it's in the news, we're probably going to be talking about it and making a little fun of it. It's all meant in good-spirited fun. There's no ill thoughts behind any of it. It is simply that, comedy. And that's what we need right now with everything out there, with all the political unrest, the social unrest, the civil unrest, the COVID unrest. We all just need to freaking laugh. I think the biggest thing that I want the audiences to get out of the Funny Bōnz performances is just a couple of hours of nothing but laughing. Not thinking about anything troublesome going on in their life or anybody else's life. Just have some fun. Just laugh at the silliness. Find the bright side in everything, and just enjoy yourselves, because that's all it is. You don't have to even think. You can sit there in whatever attire you want to. You can wear mismatched pajamas as long as you have a cocktail in your hand, because the funnier the audience, the drunker the audiences are, the funnier we get. So just have a good time. We want nothing more, nothing less. Once this proverbial fog lifts, this COVID fog, and we are able to bring audiences back into a theater space and bring actors back onto the stage in front of this live audience, I really am excited about the potential of bringing this Funny Bōnz concept to the theater. There are so many different ways we can approach it. So we're already looking ahead at this, and we've got a few different eggs in the basket, I think the phrase is. But we want to bring it to a theater and bring it to a dinner theater type setting. I think one of the coolest things about Laffing Matterz that I would love to bring and incorporate into the live in-person Funny Bōnz is that the actors were the waiters before the show. And one really cool thing about it is at least 50% of the audience didn't realize that. These people would be waiting on them, serving them this wonderful dinner, serving them drinks. And then all of a sudden the show starts, and those people who were feeding them and cleaning their plates and bringing them more wine and bringing them more food, they're all of a sudden on the stage, and they're the ones entertaining you for the evening. And I'm looking forward to the potential of actually making that happen again. Laffing Matterz was on the East Coast in Florida, and we're out here on the West Coast. And I would love to bring that concept out here and entertain our Southern California audiences with that. People out there in the world absolutely need to go to their living rooms or wherever in your house. You have to come see Funny Bōnz, because the world is too serious right now. Laughter is the best medicine, and I guarantee you there will be many, many laughs to be had in the 2 hours of production time. And if you don't give yourself the privilege and the pleasure of coming to see the show, you're going to really miss out, and you'll probably never laugh again. So we're looking at a model for Funny Bōnz of bringing a new production to you once every couple of months is the plan at this point. We can't really do an ongoing week by week type situation because of the technical components that are connected with it. There's a lot that goes on after the actors sit in front of their green screens and sing beautifully and crack each other up. So we can't do it every week and keep the material current. So we're looking at doing it about once every 2 months or so, where we're planning on changing out 50 to 75% of the show to update it with whatever's happened in that last couple months. We have a couple of in-house writers that are writing specifically for us. We're also always looking for new material and new writers to submit material for us to use in the future. And we're also looking for more celebrity mishaps. We're looking for more political oopsies. We're looking for more socially incorrect things that we can make fun of. So if you want to make fun of something out there, you just let us know, and we'll take care of that for you. But so we're looking about it once every 2 months. Part of it's going to depend on the demand. So again, you have to come see the show so you can get more shows and get more laps in. So once every 2 months, 2 to 3 months, it just kind of depends on the flow. But that is the goal at this point for 2021. So if the world isn't complicated enough, what we are trying to do is we're going to actually, on show day, there will be 2 performances. Our first performance will be geared towards an evening performance for the East Coast, which could also be considered a matinee performance for the West Coast. Because this particular show and the group of people involved in it, we had quite the following for 9 years in Fort Lauderdale, Southern Florida area. We want to make sure that they get to partake in the fun and humor behind all this. So there's a 7 p.m. show for the East Coasters, which is 4 p.m. on the West Coast. And then we have a 7 p.m. show which is an evening show for the West Coasters, and that's a late night show for the East Coast. It is imperative, if not crucial, for the communities to support their local arts organizations. Arts brings so much to the world. I mean, think about it. What have you been doing for the last 14 months? Watching Netflix, watching Hulu, watching Amazon Prime Video. Those are all forms of the arts. The arts provide education, they provide culture, they provide inspiration, they provide just a getaway from everything in the world, just sheer entertainment. And without your support, your local arts organizations can't continue, especially the local ones. You've got the big theaters like the Segerstrom Center, you've got the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, you've got the Amundsen, you've got all the different huge Broadway roadhouses across the country. That's great. Support those too. But the core of your community is really your local theater companies. They're the ones that give back. They're the ones that bring in business for local restaurants, for hotels, for shopping in the areas around the theaters. So without your support, those theaters will not be able to continue, especially after the struggle that they've all faced during this time of COVID-19. I am Jon Peterson, Executive Artistic Director and founder of P3 Theater Company, as well as the co-creator of Funny Bōnz. If you've enjoyed what you've been hearing tonight and you want to learn more about what P3 is up to and what more we're doing to give back to our community, then visit our website at p3theater.biz. That's P3theatre.biz.